Good morning, everyone. In today's class, we are going to see the changes and structure of SAT, and then we'll see the math syllabus, the topics that are covered in the digital SAT, and we'll start with one of the topics of SAT math. So SAT has gone digital. So digital SAT is now for 2 hours and 24 minutes, which includes the 10-minute break. So earlier it was longer, now it has become very short, right? So we have first the English modules. We have two modules in English and two math modules. So the break is between these two modules. So in the first module, you have the reading and writing, and you have 25 questions for 32 minutes. Similarly, reading and writing, 25 questions, 32 minutes. So you have same number of questions in each module, right? So earlier SAT had a separate reading module, a separate writing module. You had map-sized passages in the reading module with a lot of questions. But now, luckily, the number of words per passage has been reduced to less than 150. And there's just one question per passage. So when it comes to math, we have in math, you have 22 questions for 35 minutes. So you are allowed to use the calculator for both the modules. Earlier, we had a calculator module and another module with no calculator. Yes, you're allowed to bring in your graphing calculator, or you can also use the Desmos, which is embedded in the software. And for a graphing calculator, you'll have to type the equation and then press enter, and then you can see the graph. And again, if you want data points, you have to type in. Whereas the Desmos is more user friendly, right? You can, in fact, open it in your tab itself on your computer. If you type Desmos graphing calculator, so the moment you type the equation, you can see the graph drawn. And when you hover over the graph, you can see the points that are needed, right? So it's very user friendly and it saves a lot of time. So this is about the digital SAT. Most importantly, this is a multi-stage adaptive test. What do I mean by multi-stage? Right? So your performance in the first one, in the first module, determines how your second module comes. The difficulty level will change depending on your performance. For example, scenario one. In the first module, you did extremely well, right? You got all correct. And in the second module, you made 5 mistakes, right? Let's consider another scenario where in the first module, you got 5 mistakes. And in the second module, you did extremely well. You got everything right. In which of these scenarios are you likely to score higher? It is in this, the first scenario one, where you get a higher score because because you did really well in the first test, in the first module, the difficulty level will be a little higher in the second module. So even though you made 5 mistakes, you will still get a higher score when compared to when you made 5 mistakes in the first module, the difficulty level will be lower. So even though you got all correct in the second module, your score is going to be lower. That means even though the raw score is same for both the scenarios, that is 5 mistakes, your SAT score is going to change, right? So now let's go to SAT math syllabus. So SAT math is divided into 4 topics. The first is algebra. These names are given by the college board itself. And so what is covered in algebra? Everything that is linear, right? So slope, parallel lines, perpendicular lines, equation of a line, inequalities, solving inequalities, equation handling, all these are discussed here. The second topic is advanced math. So what is covered here? In this, everything that is non-linear is discussed, like quadratic functions, exponential functions, miscellaneous functions, and remainder theorem, factor theorem, polynomials, a plus b whole square, a minus b whole square, and all that. And the third topic is problem solving and data analysis. So far, it was lines, equations, and so on. Now you'll be dealing with real life application of concepts. So you have all practical topics like ratios, percentages, unit conversions, and time, speed, and distance. All data statistics tools like average, median, mode, sampling, and surveys are all covered here, right? So the next topic is geometry and trigonometry. So what is covered here? Angles, circles, triangles, right triangles, unit circles, sine theta, cos theta, tan theta, mensuration, all the formulas. So these things are discussed. So how about the weightage of these topics, right? So I told you there are 22 questions in SAT math. How is it bifurcated between the four? So from algebra, you get around 7 to 8 questions. Similarly, from advanced math, you get 7 to 8 questions. That's around 14 to 16 questions, right? And from problem solving and data analysis, you get 3 to 4 questions. And from geometry and trigonometry, again, 3 to 4 questions. So so from algebra itself, linear and non-linear algebra, you get 65% of the questions. So it's just 50% of the syllabus. So it's very important, right? In today's class, we'll discuss algebra. Linear algebra. So we all know about the y-axis, y dash and y, x-axis, x and x dash. This is the x-axis and y-axis. They intersect at the origin, right? And x and y can be plotted in this. So we have four different quadrants. The first quadrant, second, third, and fourth. And in the first quadrant, both x and y are positive. The second quadrant, x is negative, y is positive. In the third quadrant, x is negative, both x and y are negative. And in the fourth quadrant, x is positive and y is negative. Right? So when we have 2 points, what is the distance between 2 points? So distance, say you have 2 points, x1, y1, x2, y2. What is the distance between these 2 points? So distance formula is nothing but root over x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1, right? Say I give you 2 points. So we have to find out the distance between the 2 points. For example, minus 1 comma 3 and 5 comma minus 5, right? So how do you find the distance between the 2 points? Now, if I have to plot it in the xy plane, right? Minus 1 comma 3 will be somewhere here and 5 comma minus 5. Eleven comma 8 widths. Okay. So 11 comma 8 will be here, right? Here and here. The 2 points are here. So let's find out the horizontal distance between these 2 points. So the horizontal distance between these 2 points will be this, right? So what is the difference in x-axis? The difference in x-axis is nothing but is nothing but 12. 11 minus minus 1. And the vertical distance between these 2 points, right? This is the vertical distance. Difference in y-axis. So that will be, in this case, 8 minus 3, which is 5. So the distance is nothing but 13. So root over 12 square plus 5 square, that is 13. So this distance formula is nothing but the Pythagoras theorem. Now we have the midpoint formula. So what is the midpoint formula? X1 plus x2 by 2 and y1 plus y2 by 2. This is the midpoint formula. Now, when 2 points are given, how do you find the slope? The slope we get by the formula y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. Right? This is the slope when 2 points are given. So how do you interpret this slope? Usually in the SAT math, they ask you questions. They give you real life scenarios and they connect it to an equation and they ask you, what does this number mean? Right? So what I'm going to teach is very important. Right? So basically for a unit change in x, so x increases by 1 unit, right? For that, what is a corresponding unit change in y, right? This is nothing but the slope, right? For example, x increases by 1 unit to the right and this y climbs. By how much does y climb? Right? So say in this case, it climbs by y. Then your slope is going to be 10. Right? So in case your x increases by 3, right? And for that, the corresponding change in y, say it goes down by 6 units. So what is the slope? -2, because 6 by -3. So this is -2 because the y has gone down by 2 units for every 1 unit increase in x. So this is very important in SAT problems, right? So now what is the equation of a line? Okay. So equation of a line. So in we all know it is y is equal to mx plus c. So what is m? M is nothing but the slope, which we just discussed. And c is nothing but the y-intercept. So what is y-intercept? The change. So this is the value of y when x becomes 0. This is also asked in SAT math questions. They'll ask you real life applications, right? So when, say you have 2 points, -1, 3 and 5, -1. How will you write the equation of this line in this formula, in this format? So now the first step is to find the slope, right? So let's do it. So the slope is nothing but y2 minus y1. That is nothing but -1, 3, 5, -5. So slope is -5 minus 3 divided by 5 minus -1. So that is this. So this is -8 by 6. This is nothing but -4 by 3. So this is the slope. So now I can write it y is equal to -4 by 3 x plus c. Now after finding the slope, we need how many points? So we need 1 point. So 1 point. So let us choose -1, 3. Right? So 1 point is needed after finding the slope. So let's substitute this. So 3 is equal to -4 by 3 into -1 plus c. So let's substitute it. 3 minus 4 by 3. So that gives me 5 by 3. Now we have the y-intercept. So this is nothing but 5 by 3. This is the equation of a line. Now, they may ask you a question like, say 10, p lies on this line. Find out what is p, right? So what would you do? Substitute 10 here and find out the value of y. Now let's do this question on Desmos. So you can open your window on Desmos. So this is the Desmos graphing calculator. Here you have the plus option. You can add a table here. So you can enter the points -1, 3 and 5, -5. Right? So you can see that the 2 points are plotted here. -1, 3 and 5, -5. Now we are asking the Desmos to give us the equation of, give us the line. So we are giving the equation. So see, if you note here, it's not x and y, it is x1 and y1. So y1, I'm giving a slider, not equation. Okay, so slider m x1 plus c. What do you see? As I was typing the equation itself, I got the equation of a line. So now let's say I have to find out, say they say in the question, 10 comma p lies on this line. Find out what is p. I can simply write x is equal to 10. So let me see. You can find x is equal to 10 is drawn. You can find out the point of intersection. So the answer is, so p will be minus 11.66, right? So this is how we solve it in Desmos. So it is really worth practicing, because by the time you come to the mock test, you'll be very used to Desmos, and it will save you a lot of time. It will save you a lot of careless mistakes also done, right? So that's it for today's class. I hope you everything is clear. So let me know if you have any doubts. Thank you.